So I'm getting ready to install the man door into the garage. I didn't want to bore you with a bunch of little details, but I don't want to have a threshold in my man door. I want to conquer it all the way through, so if I decide to roll something through, I don't have to bump over a metal man door. So I unscrewed the threshold from the bottom of the door, and then I set the door up on the sawhorses, and I actually cut off that, I don't know, about 1.5 inches of extra door jamb that was at the bottom, so the door will sit down lower. Because I did that, and when I framed the garage, I didn't take that into account, I had to shim down the inside of the man door here, and then I also installed a 1/2-inch shim on this side right up in here, to just take up a lot of the extra space around the door. I already pre-checked it one time. So I'm getting actually ready to stick it back in there, which should be the last time, hopefully. Of course, I haven't done this in a really long time, so who knows. So before I stick it back in there, I'm going to get some caulking, which I happen to have some exterior doors and windows caulking. And I'll caulk all the way around the opening, and then I'll slide it back in, and the caulking will push up against that. It's called this is called the brick molding here. So the caulking will squish up against the back of this and get it nice and tight and seal. I'll put an extra big glob in the corner so it evens out. This looks like a caulking gun, right? Except this is a heavy-duty caulking gun. It says so right here. Go buy yourself a good heavy-duty caulking gun. They've got the little poker already built into them, right? This little thing right here. It folds down out of your way. But then it also folds up so you can pop the aluminum foil that's inside the tip. It also has a nice rounded grip. They work a lot better. They're about $12 versus the $3 one you normally probably buy. And it also has a little cutter built into the tip, or built into the handle, which is kind of a nice little feature also. So I cut that off. Looks like I got some liquid nails on here from the last time I used it. Make sure I got that all broken loose, which I do. Okay, not too bad. I missed a little bit of caulking here, but I'll squirt some in there a little bit later. So you can see the doors sagging down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the hinge side first, plumb and level the hinge side, and I'll drive screws in to here after I put a couple shims in, and that'll make it so it hangs nice and square. And then I'll do the other side, making sure that the top plate is flat, level. You guys are going to go into fast forward mode, and hopefully everything goes well. So after a whole lot of screwing with the door, it's in. It's all attached. I countersunk those holes. I drove all the screws in. I've got screwed through the top hinge, through the bottom hinge. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on this side, 3 across the top, and 3 down here. Where am I? There I am. Okay. So after my battery dying like 15 times and trying to get the last little comment or two on film, I realized that I needed to go get a new camera battery. And I'll show you what the back of the door looks like, or the inside of the door. I've got a couple more shims to put around the deadbolt and the handle location. I'll show you that, and I'll show you how I drill and pre-sync for the screws. I like using screws because, as you saw, it's you can take them in and out several times. If you use nails and you don't do this a lot, don't hang doors a lot, you could potentially make a mistake and screw up your door. So with screws, you can take them in and out and check for level and get it all absolutely perfect. So let me show you what this back of the door looks like. You can see the shim sticking out here, and here, and here, and here. I drive my screws through my shims. Some people don't. I don't know why you wouldn't, because they could fall out, but I do. So I've got 3 screws across the top, and currently I have 3 down this side, 4 down this side, the 4 and then 2 of the hinges. So there's quite a few screws. But anyway, when you're plumbing and leveling the door, I found for myself, I put 3 in, all the way up at the top above the hinge, way down below the hinge, and then 1 just below the center hinge. Then I do my other side, and then when I open and close my door a bunch of times and make sure everything's lining up properly and check for level and plumb and all that good stuff. And then I drive a screw, or a countersink and drive a screw just above the bottom hinge. And what that does is it actually kicks out the bottom slightly. I mean, it's very hard to notice. And that stops the door from swinging open or closed by itself. Well, the wind blows, that's a different story, but it should just stop, hopefully. Of course, I'm gonna, whoop, there it goes. See, stop all by itself. I didn't actually touch it. And so it won't, so it'll just, if I were to walk in and leave the door sitting there, stay open, right? It won't automatically open or close. I like that. Yeah. So, anyway, I should probably go ahead and cut that shim off, but I will get to that in a second. Don't let me forget that battery's there, okay? So I put a couple extra shims in here. This is the bottom lock, and the deadbolt goes up here. So there's a screw between the two through some shims right now, but I'm gonna put a screw through here, and then I'm gonna put a couple shims and put a screw through here. It just reinforces this door area. I'm using a finished screwdriver with a countersink on it. One of the tricks some people use is they actually pull this weather seal back, and I'm going to try this. I haven't actually ever tried this before. And they put the screw behind the weather strip, so when the weather strip goes back, you can't see the screw, which it makes sense. I don't know why I didn't try doing that all the rest of it, but these other ones I'll fill with caulking, and we'll paint the door and we'll paint the garage, and you won't ever notice them. I kind of like that. It covers up the screw hole and secures everything in place. Break these off, you just score the back, break them down. What I'm doing is I'm finding the thick end of the shim that will slide all the way in. So when I drive a screw in, it'll catch that shim. And then I'll drive a skinny end this way, and that will fill the gap. We're not trying to drive it around by doing this. We're just barely trying to get it snug and then drive a screw through so that it fills up that. Oh, this one looks like it's the one. Look at that. All the way back where it belongs. We'll get one of these guys. This in here. And then a little tap. Set them. A little bit more. Doesn't take much. Set it, drill it, screw it, and be done with it. Okay. The only problem I see with putting it behind there is you can damage the seal. I wouldn't say I damaged it, but it's definitely got a little mark right there. There we go. My gap down this side is nice and even. Off the top is good, down this side is good. I don't have a doorknob or a deadbolt yet, but I don't have garage doors either, so I guess I don't really need that quite yet. So for now, so this doesn't blow around in the wind, and we'll stick something in that hole. Maybe a scrap shim if it fits. No, not quite. I'll rip it lengthwise. Oh, never mind. Check this out. I set that there just for this reason. This is the door spacer that comes with the door to hold it in place during shipment. I'll stick that baby back in there. Holds the door closed for me. Look at that. Won't blow around the wind anymore. So that's it. That's the door. So you saw me put the door in. I put the piece of metal flashing above the top, and I'm gonna go ahead and caulk. Run a bead of caulking all the way down here, down to the bottom on both sides and across the top. And I have the boards pre-cut. So this will finish trimming out the window, and I got a piece of belly band cut for this side already too. I'm gonna go ahead and run belly band over there, but I don't have any of that ready yet. So. That's it. So I'll go ahead and put the last piece of belly band on across the bottom. I do have to put flashing over the top of these drip edge, right? The metal strip that you saw me put up here. So that'll go across all the top of the belly band. I've got one here, and you can see one around the edge there. So I'll put that last piece of board up, put the drip edge on top of all of that, and we'll be ready to start siding finally.